Hello and welcome to another process work in progress video from Eric Polly at erply.com. I just made some edits to erply.com, so if you want to hire a freelance animator, you need a video edited, you need something created, and you want to show other human beings, you can go to erply.com and contact me there. But today, what am I working on? I am working on a large project actually, and I'm creating just an asset for that project. This asset being a 3D floating robot. I designed it a little bit in a storyboard, but I haven't got anywhere past there. I'm going to be using some textures that I have downloaded here from textures.com. If you haven't checked it out as an artist, if you are an artist watching this, I suggest checking it out and getting yourself some free textures like these. Obviously, some of these are from my house, but a lot of these these right here are all brand new, just downloaded just for this project. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to use. Probably these containers down here. I don't know. I guess we'll find out here in a second. Let's close all of these and start with a cube. We have a cube. So I want a head that can turn around, and I think that's really all that needs to be manipulatable or animatable, layman's terms here. So let's start with the body of the robot itself, and it can be pretty cubish, as the kids say. No, I don't know. So I kind of want this to be really rigid and, the shape of a robot, right? So it's going to be very square. So I don't think I need to subdivide. If I did subdivide, it's kind of starting with a ball. But let's see what that kind of looks like to give you an idea. Yeah, definitely not what we want. Now I'm trying to design this and not make it perfect when I'm extruding around for the base of the body itself. I'm going to grab with G on the Z axis, move that up just a smidge. I kind of want somewhere for the head to sit upon. I think I'm going to actually create the head separately and attach it to a neck, I guess is what I'm going to call this. Let's subdivide that and use the loop tool to turn it into a circle and extrude that up on the Z-axis. Once again, I use that Z-axis constantly. And you know what, let's select edge loop. Oh, that didn't do what I wanted. That's fine. Let's go to, oh my goodness, just select the thing and let's bevel that. I'm not exactly sure if this is how we're going to want this to look, but you'll get the idea. I want it to be a little bit smooth, so kind of connects smoothly. There's a better word for that. Organically. A robot that is hooked up organically. Yeah, that's what I said. That's what's happening. Alright, I'm going to select both of these sides. Let's make sure that is the front. And I'm going to hit I and extrude size and just small that up. Small it up. These are technical terms. You need to learn these things. When you've been in the business as long as I have. Anyways. I'm going to do something similar on the sides, but for these I'm actually going to extrude them out. And perhaps I'll put like a little TV screen on them or something. I'm not really sure yet. For now, let's just get the basics all put out there, and so I can get more of a visual of what I want to happen. Let's do another extrude on this one. So I hit I to, I'm not exactly sure what the word is, invert, I guess. That's not really it. It's like basically extruding by size, but it's just an easier hotkey to do so. Let's extrude. Well, you know what? Actually, let's grab this up so it's not so quite in the center. I want it to be a little bit more random looking. So, and obviously I'm, well, not obviously, but I'm viewing this without light. So everything's perfectly lit, so this isn't really what it's going to look like. Let's look at it from the front again. I'm going to actually do a little bit more extrusion here. And now, let's make this smaller, grab it up. G and Z, and then I click to let go of that beast, and let's extrude that down, maybe bevel that. And it's still beveling according to how many loops I gave it earlier, just by scrolling on the mouse wheel. I know I'm explaining a little bit of what I'm doing, but this is definitely not a tutorial. This is more of a work in progress. If you get if you learn something from this, then fantastic, but I'm sorry, that is not the purpose of this video. I'm just showing my work. I did learn something in school, see? I'm going to actually make this way small, extrude it down. Oh, it was already going down. It just looks weird at this angle. So there's this little thing popping out the bottom. No. And let's extrude S by size, and now you kind of get the idea what I was talking about when I was talking about the I key. So it does a very similar thing. There's not really, as far as I can tell, there's not much of a purpose in using the I key, but I still like using it. It's just like a one key shorter from extruding by size. I don't know. I'm sure there's more use to it that I just don't apply. But that's okay. Let's bevel it again. Control B. And let's put a couple more loops so it's real smooth looking. And then we can invert that, or the I key. I'm going to call it invert. It's definitely not inverting. And then let's bring that up. And then do it again. So then kind of looks like all the I'm not sure if it's going to be smoke. Smoke simulation will be very harsh on the rendering. I might end up doing it just to make it look nice and clean and amazing looking. Let's grab it like this so I can see what the heck's going on. It's the X-ray view, which I can apparently toggle with Alt-Z. I've never used Alt-Z before. And let's just bring this up and make it small so you can kind of see it goes somewhere, but you can't see where it goes to. So it just looks like it goes, like maybe it turns or something inside. And you know what? Let's turn this off so I can see what the heck I'm doing. If I hold Alt and I click this the line, it will select everything within that loop. Hopefully not this inside, right? No, okay. I think I can hit I for this. Yep. And let's extrude that down. It was already extruding down. I keep doing that. Let's select the loop. Select, not add. Select. Edge loop, or is it edge ring? I keep messing this up. You know what? I think it's because I need to hit 2. Now let's try it. So I'm hitting the 2 key in edit mode to select lines rather than faces. And I think that shows as a visual up here. Yes, it does. Indeed, sir, indeed. View? No. Select. That's what I was doing. And loop? No. Control Z, undo. That's the ring. No, that's not that either. What am I doing wrong here? Oh, boundary loop. You know, sometimes, I don't know. And let's bevel it. Nope. Control B, not Control V. Get the cheese, Milo, not the keys. Yeah. Yeah, I throw in references from movies that you've never seen, depending on how old you are. So I'm trying to make this look a little bit more like the bottom of a rocket, essentially. So I'm gonna actually hit S for size on this one, and maybe like that. That's pretty smooth, so you can kind of get the idea that something is happening. Rocket. I'm not a rocket scientist, clearly, so from my eyes, this is clearly how a rocket works. See, the fire comes out, and that's what makes it go. Just like a rocket, right? Alright, so that's pretty much the base of the body. I think I can get away with just the way it is. I'm going to add a little bit more detail because I want this to look nice and fancy. What side is this? So that's the front. This is just the side over here. But I want it to be aesthetically pleasing. I want there to be something to look at that looks like a panel, but this also looks just like it. Well, it doesn't have the ridge, I guess, but I still think maybe a little bit extra would be ideal. Let's bring it back out. Way out. And, you know, and I think I'm going to have a little piece popping off. Let's control the size of this with S and Z. And let's grab it with Z, G, Z. GZ is like just my bread and butter over here. I constantly... So now it's a little bit off center. That's what I want. So before I go to loop tool to make a circle, I'm actually going to need to subdivide. And now that it's got enough geometry for me to turn it into a circle, and it's circle-ish. But that's what we want, because robots don't really do the whole circle business. We didn't get in this business to do circles. And let's extrude that. Rotate by Z. Nope. Rotate by X. Nope, that's still not it. Rotate by Y. Extrude. Again. R, Y. To rotate on the Y axis. Extrude. R, Y. Is that too much? I think so. R, Y. Let's kind of correct it until it's kind of lined up with that nice grid line. I like that Blender has that in there, so then I can kind of judge my angles accordingly. Alright, so that's kind of like an exhaust, I suppose. Let's go... Oh, you know what? Let's no, let's make it a little bit smaller here, and then also invert with the eye. It's not invert. Again, I'm not going to stop calling it that. Oh, wait. Before we do that, let's just grab it. Grab it up. And extrude now again. Oh, I keep hitting the Z key even though I know it's extruding properly. So, does that look weird? It looks a little bit organic. It's like a banana poking out of it or something. What could we do to fix this? Let's Control Z and undo it a bunch. Let's change the size. I think that'll fix it. 1 RY. Extrude. Let's do a lot smaller. RY. A lot smaller of extrusions, so it has a lot thicker of an angle. I don't know. Terminology. That part doesn't really matter. Am I extruding? Rotate. Control Z. Let me grab it to make sure I'm not extruding. RY. And extrude. About like that. RY. And is that flat? Let's find out. Not quite, but actually I kind of like that a little bit more. It's a little bit more charming than it was. RY. Extrude Z. Oh, again, there's just no stopping that. Alright, that looks a lot more like either an antenna or an exhaust. So I'm going to actually make that even smaller. Extrude, like this minis. Hit tab. What's that look like? That looks very antenna-ish. Or exhaust. Whatever your mind kind of goes to, that's what it is. I'm actually going to invert with the I key. Again, that's not what it is. But I'm not going to look it up, because I'm that kind of guy. Oh, go down. Nope, too far. Let's go right there. How far does that go in? Again, this will give an illusion like you can see inside, but you can't. It's a tube. As far as your eye can see, that is the illusion of three-dimensional art. Let's Control S to save this bad boy before we get too carried away. And this is the animation I was working on right here. And you know what? Let's change the name of this. Do I have to right click? F2. Okay. Floating castle assets. Haha, assets. Alright. Robot floating 2021 01. And I put that 01 that way so I can control Shift S and immediately save a new one. And that is in case I mess this up so bad that I want to go back and use my original piece that I had. So let's see what this looks like when I shade smooth. Terrible, right? Let's go over here to my normals, and that's inside. Let's auto smooth. Now, that's not quite enough, but I think that'll do, pig. Let's grab this. Does it grab properly? And bevel that. And then let's also make that smaller. No, you know what? Actually, let's do the opposite and extrude size. That way it looks a little bit more like a bolt connection of sorts. And that's exactly the illusion that I wanted there. We could probably do that again. Control R, and let's create a loop cut, I believe is what this is called. And I'm going to bevel that again. And what's that going to do? It's going to create like a ring. And not just a ring, but a ring with enough geometry that it'll be editable again later. And let's extrude that on size. And again, it creates a bit of a bolt illusion. That's what we want, so that's what we did. You know what I'm saying? Alright. Can we loop cut this part right here? Will it let me? Sometimes the loop cut has a really hard time trying to figure out what you're trying to do. And that did work. Let's grab it up. Will that work? No, not quite. Instead, I'm going to hit 1 on the number pad. Let's go back over here so we're actually seeing through it. And I should be able to select all of this. Did it do it? It did. Fantastic. I'm going to grab that and push it up. And the reason I'm doing this, I'm going to hit 2 and then Alt and select that, grab that, push it down. Let's bevel that, Control B, like that, and then extrude with the E key, S, and we'll create another bolt looking dude. Moths add realism to everything. So this guy's looking pretty smooth. He's looking alright. Kind of got the body idea down. Now at this point I'm just adding details that are not necessary, but details that are not necessary are the reason that you like your favorite thing. So I'm going out of my way to make this look fancy. I'm going to use the K tool to cut and try to make that as straight as possible. Now I can select this and invert. It's not invert. I know. I'm going to grab it out and make it a little bit more like a little panel box. Yep. Let's look at it from the front. That's what it looks like from the front. So when it's flying around, really it's just going to be turning at angles depending on which direction it is flying at. I'm trying to think of a way, because I could use a particle system and have like bubbles or something rather than smoke, because the smoke is just, well, first of all, smoke is a little bit overused as far as 3D animation, and then it also just destroys the render process. Like if there's a large amount of smoke on the screen, it's going to be like an hour per frame to render, and then I'm currently animating at 60 frames per second, and it's going to be like a 20-second video, so 20 seconds times 60 times an hour. I don't have that much time, neither does my computer, so I need to figure out some sort of workaround, which is really what a graphics artist is having to deal with. You know, let's make another little panel over here. I think that's what I'm going to do, is use particle system with like some dots or something, bubbles. That's what I, oh, that's not straight at all. Oh my gosh. You know what? I can deselect. What is happening? Whatever. What? No, what are you doing? Why is it not wanting to cut right here? That's pretty straight. That'll do. Again, let's extrude this out with the E key and hit S to size it down. And then let's, again, select boundary loop. And Control B to bevel that so it's nice and smooth looking. And that kind of looks like another little panel. We can even add a little bit more detail to that by going like this. And then let's size it up a little bit with SZ and extrude that inside so it has a nice set of texture. So it looks like you can probably like push your finger on it and maybe it'll open. I could add a little bit more detail to that to make it look that way. Alright, we got the basics for this. Let's add a head. Now, the head, again, is not going to really necessarily animate. It's going to turn, and that's about it. So it doesn't need much. I do need to realize that there's going to be an extension piece, and it cannot go out further than this exhaust pipe or antenna or whatever that is. So, you know what, let's grab this whole thing and scrunch it down. That is the beauty of 3D animation. Really, using any animation software is you can scrunch it up so then it has more of a, well, the reason I just scrunched it up is that it has more of a feel that it's a squatty little robot. And it'll also be easier to maneuver around tight spaces, which is where it's going to be flying around in. Which is another thing I'm going to have to think about when it comes down to animating the particle system. So that's I'm going to have those particles die off really fast, just to make sure they don't accidentally animate through a floor or something. Because that little looks strange. Alright, so let's animate this head. The head, I was thinking something, I don't know, similar to a Disney Monopoly animation. You know what I'm talking about. I'm going to scrunch that down, and then let's do this again, and grab that this way. Size it this way. SX is what I meant by that. So it has a little bit of imperfection, I suppose. It's not 100% symmetrical in every direction, but still symmetrical to be a robot. Now, I want a little extension piece here in front of its face, which is, this is the front. I hit one key to make sure that that is indeed the front. And I'm not going to need bones or anything for this, actually, which I'll get to that in a little bit. I'm going to hit S. That's not the shape we want. We want it more like right in the center, a perfect square. Now I'm going to... Oh, no, I don't want to bevel this yet. Do I? I guess I could, and let's see what happens with this. Nope, that doesn't work at all. Let's subdivide, and subdivide again. Maybe this will make more of a perfect circle. Indeed. Now let's hit the 3 key. Let's extrude this out. Extrude it again, just about right here, and that's so I don't have to create another loop cut or later. I can just immediately grab that loop cut right there that's already created and pull it out. And let's do like, you know what, actually let's make this smaller. That extrude. Am I even able to see that's what's going on here? Not really. Extrude. About like that. So maybe I don't even need to create that what's it called? The bolt, I suppose. I key. And how thick do I want this tubing material to be? I think like that. It doesn't look like it's going to interfere with this. It looks way shorter, so I don't think that's going to be a problem whatsoever. And you know, I'll test that here in a little bit, but for now I'm going to extrude this all the way back. I'm going to check it out in the x-ray to see how far back it indeed goes, and then let's extrude this out again and rotate it, extrude it out, so rotate that again. And it doesn't really matter which way it's rotating, because when you look at it from here, it just looks like it goes somewhere, and that's really all that matters, is the illusion that it is a tube that goes somewhere in this robot. And I'm gonna stick this thing literally on it and make sure that it actually fits and looks good. And I think really that's all I needed from the head. So now it's all up to whatever details I would like to generate. So from this point, I'm gonna just grab some stuff and pull it around. Hit the 3 key to select these faces, which I'm gonna just like do like that. And let's just lower the size. Lower it or increase it. Increasing it looks a little bit better. And bevel it so then it's smooth. Kind of has more of a robot-y face now already. Kind of get that. Let's do this and actually pull this one. Just pull it all, yeah, like that. And bevel that as well. Now this bevel can be really drastic because that looks pretty cool. Let's shade it smooth. That looks ugly. That looks better. But now that tube is smooth, you see that? Let's show you. Let's fade it. See, now it looks all jagged. Now it looks smooth. And that's literally what the smooth tool does. Alright. Oop. Selecting the wrong thing. Let's do a little bit extras. I like this. Have these be opposites again, so it looks kind of like a little panel on the side of its head. Let's see, what other extra could we do here on the top of the head? Doesn't need to really have anything here. I know one thing for sure. I want to have like some sort of visual, some way for it to see. And I think this would be perfect. And this material, I'm actually, oh, no, I'm not creating vertex groups. This doesn't need them. Let's create 2 of these. Each one is new. This one's going to be bod color, I guess. Even knowing it's the head, I'll know what I mean. Eye emission. Let's control S. Let's control Shift S just to make sure I don't make something ugly I didn't actually intend to make. Which you'd be surprised if you accidentally make one wrong decision. You might be setting yourself up to where you can't undo it later, and you end up really upset. So I'm going to actually bring this back even further, and now I'll assign this. And for now, I'm just going to turn it red, just so I know that it is in fact a different material. Now that material is assigned, and it has a bit of an eyeball. and I'm gonna make it glow, which is where the emission comes into play. So this is the basics of the robot. Hi robot, I'm Eric. So I'm gonna select this all, UV unwrap it. Let's do a smart UV unwrap for now and see how that works. I'm gonna do the same thing for this guy, select all, smart UV unwrap, and that's just so when I'm applying the texture, it goes where it's supposed to go. Now's kind of the fun part. Well, another fun part for me is the shading, and this is putting essentially wallpaper on the wall. So think of it that way. I'm going to Shift A and input, no, I want the texture image, and we're gonna open, let's see, do I have textures down here? I do. Can I view this by the date? I don't think I can. I guess we're just gonna look through it all. These are all my textures invading my space. So what do I want this robot's texture to look like? I was thinking maybe that blue door I downloaded earlier. Let's see. Not paint, because that's going to be really generic looking. I want to use preferably one single image for this entire thing, because there's going to be so much going on in this animated clip that I'm going to be throwing this guy in that the render time's already going to be horrendous. So, maybe that. Let's see if there was a door that I wanted to use. I thought there was. I thought there was a blue door. Did I not download it? Oh, maybe this guy? I don't know. Let's try this. And this looks nice too. I don't know. Stuck in a hard spot. Decisions. So what I'm going to do is connect the color. Let's see what happens. Oh, it's connecting to the emission. That's not what I wanted. I'm going to grab it, Control X. Let's go over here, Control V, and there is a different one that I didn't want. Oh well. Let's just do it all over again. Let's just do it all over again. And yeah, I don't really mind doing it over again because it was such an easy task. That's it's when you accidentally don't save and your Blender crashes on you and you just spent an hour doing a project. That's when you really want to throw your computer outside and never animate anything ever again. But that's not what happened here. I just need to pick the same texture again. Maybe I'll second guess. Not today, son. Alright, so bod color. Now you can kind of see that already looks pretty cool. But it's crazy chaos. And the tube is like weird too. So everything's weird about it. Now, I want to be able to see what I'm doing. Select all. So that's what's happening right now. Definitely not what I was going for. But it looks cool, I guess, in its own way. I'm just going to start selecting some of these faces. I'm going to select all of this. I'm going to go way further down. Now let's decide what color we're going to kind of try and stick in. The green looks pretty common in this image, so that might just be the thing that makes sense to do. And the numbers kind of look cool. So I'm going to just kind of stick with that and have it part of the face, like that. Now I need to do that 1,000 times over. No, I was just kidding. It's not as bad as it looks. I can hit the C key to create a circle selection, and I just wanted to see where they're all at, really. And let's grab this, turn it around like that, and it looks kind of more like that panel I was originally going for. Maybe even we'll go down here and rotate it a little bit. Kind of see what I'm saying? Maybe we'll go right there, so it has like a little bit of that logo. It looks pretty cool. Let's rotate this like that again, so it looks kind of like computer chippy. Technical terms, you'll understand what I'm talking about when you're older. See, like this little fella, what's he doing over here? He should be right here. Same with this guy. There's always stragglers. Not always, but yeah, always. I'm sticking to my word. I know what I'm saying. I know things. I'm just hitting A and G and just trying to correct the colors on these as much as possible, and at least get the basics of what I want to happen. Oh, I didn't know this was selected still. That's okay, let's go down here with it. Rotate. And we want this kind of more flat fit. Alright. Now, if I add a normal map to this, it'll look a lot better. And so this is just the gist of what it's going to look like, but you kind of get the idea. Let's grab it down here and get more of this. People who are overly familiar with shipping containers are going to be able to pick this out, but most people are going to see a robot. Especially if I size, oh, that's not what I'm trying to do, dude. I'm trying to get the size over here. Cool. Shift Alt. Shift Alt. All these fine details. It's really what makes that realism. Not necessarily going for realism, since I'm creating a nonsensical robot, but whatever. It's alright. I wanted to make it look at least good. I don't know why I made that voice, but you know what I'm saying. It should look good. Darn it. Circle. That's clear. Alright. Now I'm going to go small on this one. Like that. Even smaller. Oh, I'm creating the grab size. I gotta be careful where my mouse is. Blender's a little bit different when it comes to programs like that, especially because depending on what screen your mouse is on, it will edit accordingly to your keywords depending on the screen that your mouse is on. I hope that made sense. Meaning if my mouse is over here and I start hitting the C key, it's going to know that I want to create a circle selection tool on that area of screen. So now that I'm over here in the UV editing screen with my mouse, Blender says, alright, I'll take it from here. I know what you want. And then it creates it generates, depending on my keys, according to the screen that my mouse is on. Yeah. Alright. let's grab this and go right here. Is that gonna be good? Let's actually go way smaller. So it's just one solid color. You know what? Let's probably do the same thing over here with all this. Go meow, tiny. Same with this. That way it's just one solid color and it looks normal. I don't know. Let's do the same thing right here. That way it's the inside is just blue, and blue is all you need to know. Let's grab all these imperfections and turn them into a normal color. Hold Shift and Alt. It's going to do the same thing here. So this computer will look like it's, or this robot will look like it's relatively homemade, but still look, I don't know, robot-y. Alright. Let's grab the material that we already just used and plop it down here. Now, that's chaos, right? It is, for sure. I'm just going to literally grab it piece by piece and start throwing it where they're supposed to be. See, like all that, I can just grab it and put it in a container that I know is correct. A little bit of text makes actually adds realism to a robot. Now, if I was creating the side of a barn or a shack, that text would actually destroy the realism. You see how that works? I kind of do. There's this thing called artist insecurity. You should look it up. No, don't. It might make you insecure. I am on a roll with butter and jam. I just ate, but you know, I could eat. It's alright. I eat like I'm some somebody somewhere. Rotate 90 degrees. Does that look cooler? 90 degrees again. I like that. Let's even grab it down over here. That looks pretty cool. I like the green color that I chose. I think that's going to look smooth. I'm going to grab about the same container over here. Rotate 180. That looks more betterer. Select all. Oh, they're all over the place. See, a smart UV on wrap, I like it, but sometimes it just does the weirdest things. Like, why are these 4 connected pieces scattered all over the place like that? Oops. No, I just want to control the size of this one and that one. You're barely going to see that anyways. It's not necessary to be perfect. But this one, oops. See, I was on the wrong screen and I hit G and it's just like grabbing all sorts of stuff. And let's grab all this stuff, the real important stuff. And then like the pipe and stuff, I'm just gonna do one big giant solid color. My cat's over there wanting attention. No, get out of here. You don't even know me, shorty. I'm also a gangster in the after hours. You can catch me at the crib. JK. I don't know. I know, this is definitely the tedious part, and if you skip this part, I wouldn't blame you. I understand. This is why you pay somebody to do these kind of things. That way you don't have to look at it. Because Jiminy Christmas. The name's Jiminy. Jiminy Christmas. Who thought of that? Some genius. What? Control Z to undo that last selection. Let's just select all these things and bring them down where they gotta go. Again. Why aren't you selecting? You know what? That's fine actually, because that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good too. But these do not. Let's grab them and throw them in this main little container area. Rotate it by 90 degrees so that way there's a little bit less consistency. You know, Windows 10, you just need to update me with little beeps and boops every time I'm doing a thing that involves sound. Why you gotta do these things to me? I swear. It's like Windows 10 doesn't like me. It plots at night. It thinks about these things, and it's like, we're gonna show him today. I like the inconsistency of text here. It kind of looks like it was plopped together. Alright, it looks very green. That looks pretty cool. Now I'm going to check it for inconsistencies, like this one. Let's make that circle tool super tiny. Select everything that's not in. Select everything that's not in the spot that I want, and put it in the spot that I want. Oh, grabbing on the wrong screen. Could probably select all at this point, and just start selecting everything that's not where I want it to be and put it where I want it to be. Those are pretty good. Can I deselect with that? Let's see, where can I put? I could probably put all of these over here. Once you get the basis of stuff moved to where you want them to be, kind of move stuff wherever, like kind of like I'm doing right here. And for the most part, it's going to look pretty darn good. Except I do want most of this tube. Oops. I should have just undid the last thing I did, but that's okay. Here's the problem with the bevel. This is a very unnecessary bevel. Right now it kind of looks like a hodgepodge that was all put together randomly. So I'm going to select it, put it over here. Grab it, make it small. Grab it, make it small. Grab it, make it small. Grab it, grab it, make it small. Now it's small. So the color should be a lot more consistent, not inconsistent. Words. You know, I'm not paid to talk. That's not really my thing. Alright, I'm grabbing all these one at a time. At least I can grab the loop in entirety. And, well, that kind of looks cool. It's like rusty. Now, where did these go? Select all, grab them, move them over here. I'm going to make it, oop, not over there, over here. Is that it? Okay. Now, here's the question. Should I make those bolts a different color so you can clearly see that they are bolts? I think so. I should have just done that in the first place. But that's art, you know. You step back for a second, or in this case, you scroll back with the mouse wheel, and then you go, actually, let's do it this way. And then you go, actually, it was better the way it was. And then you go, oh no, it was definitely better the second time. But that's half the fun. You're probably watching this like, that doesn't sound fun at all. Well, that's why I'm doing it and you're not. You're watching me do it. Which sounds like way less fun to me. But I'm not one to judge. Right now. In this room. Currently. Let's grab these and put them over into this container instead. Actually, yeah, the blue container would be good. Make sure they're all actually in the container themselves. And we can make them tiny just to make sure that it works the way that I want them to. Not like I was just about to do, but like I'm doing now. And that should look pretty darn good. So it kind of looks rusty and stuff, and that's great. I'm going to Control S to save it, and let's make sure there's no imperfections. Once again, I'm sure that there is somewhere. Let's just select all to make sure over here that there's nothing, no stragglers. Like this guy. Well, where is he? He's partially into a container. That doesn't make any sense. I don't want to grab it. I want to link. And then grab that whole thing. Link with the the L key, and grab it over here. I'm not sure where that piece is. Oh, you know what? Here's another bolt that I wanted to change. And let's select all, grab that, and put it inside of a blue container. Let's make it smaller to make sure it actually fits in there. And let's grab this piece and put it right on top. And that way, it's a nice blue bolt. Now we can do the same thing over here. And this bolt is a lot less beveled. I don't know if that's the past tense word for beveling, but that's the word I'm going to use, so there it is. Ooh, I like the text on it. That looks kind of cool. You know, a lot of these 3D texture things are happy little accidents, and I'm okay with that. Oh, that looks weird. Where's this? Let's grab it and put it right here. Small. Schmarg. Just listen to Schmarg. I think of Doug Benson. I don't know. This is like super classy video, so I don't know. Small. Not smog, small. Small smog. It's like the smog here in Spokane. Spokane. Okay. Wait, what happened here? Ah, thought you could get away, did you? Not on my watch. I don't even wear a watch. Anyways, should I make this? Make these like a little something different. Oh, there it is. I was like, why is it not changing? Because I'm not changing it. That's probably the reason every time. Now the inside of that eye is a little bit red, and Let's Control S to save. I don't want to lose any of this. Now, really, I could just Shift, select this one, and go down to Parent and Object. And I think that'll do exactly what I want. It should keep transform on its own. I believe that's a change that they have made inside of Blender. So now if I grab this, it can animate on its own. So if I'm rotating it, it can look around, which is exactly what I want it to do. That's all it's going to do. And then if I grab this, it keeps the head with it as well. And that's basically as much as it needs to be animated. So that part is done. However, we do want a little bit of texture to this body. So I'm going to go Shift A and add a bump. And it's really as simple as just adding the bump to the height and then adding that down here. Now you can already see it actually automatically, because I'm using the same texture, quite literally the same material and everything as the body on the head. It changed it all at once and it did a lot of the work for me. Now you can see that is ugly as crap. Why and how am I going to fix that? I'm going to turn the strength way down. And I believe I can just use, let's do that, add the distance up a little bit. If I invert it, doesn't it turn it inside out? No, that's not what I want. It looked better the first time. Now it has a little bit of texture, it's a little rough, but you can still clearly see where I cut and paste pieces together. So that's the part that I'm going to have to fix right now. And there's several ways that this can be fixed, but the way I think I'm going to fix it today is, well, I'm still deciding clearly. Let's see. I could just add a little bit of ridge and stuff to it so it looks more intentional. Or I could literally try and piece these together and connect them. Like say if I grab these, there's probably an easier way to do that. In fact, there is an easier way to do that, but I didn't do it. Just gonna grab this, plop it inside of here like it's supposed to be, I believe, and then let's just grab the whole thing and go like that. So it looks like one consistent piece. Now, I believe, you know, I should just, let's Control S, Shift S. Let's get a little bit experimental with this now that it's basically together, and essentially I could call it done because it looks pretty clean, pretty good. When it's flying around in light and stuff, you won't see really most of this. You're barely going to even notice the details that are on it. But for my own sake, I would like to add a little bit here like this. So like kind of grab it and push it together like that. So it's a little bit more consistent, especially in the front where you're really going to be paying attention to that sort of thing. See, like it already looks pretty well put together around the edges here. Maybe I'll do the same thing over here. So I'm going to select that, then select this. Now, this was right here. These are down and around. I'm going to rotate this, grab it, and connect it back where it's supposed to be. Now, L to link. Rotate this whole thing. Grab it and push it up here. Is that going to work? Or we want it down here? Maybe it's neither. That's the top over there. That's why. Rotate. Grab it over here. Ah, see? It's linking up a little bit better. I'm just doing this by eye. Again, because it doesn't actually matter. But it did mess up the top. And so I'm actually going to undo all of that. Because the top looks consistent already. Really, it already has a little bit of consistency right there. They're already kind of connected. At least on the top. I think at this point I'm really just being a perfectionist, and I should just leave it and call it good. It's Control Shift S again, and let's call this floating robot Dunsies. Dunsies for funsies. Because it does look very floating robotish. Though I did want like more panels and stuff like that. I think working on just one little robot for a small asset of the big piece is going to be plenty. Now, as far as animating it and all that, I'm going to have to figure out how to add the particle system or something to make it appear as if it's using some sort of fuel, so it does appear to be flying, because it is going to be flying consistently throughout the entire animation. It's going to be flying for, I think, 12 seconds or so, and it's going to be panned in and out of a real video, and then it will fly through a 3D space, and it's going to need some sort of projection to it in order to have it appear as if it is indeed flying. So when that time comes, I'll try to I'm thinking it's just going to be as easy as adding a particle system and using a vertex group down here on the very bottom, coming out of this little hole on the bottom of the actual robot itself, which you won't see any of that. You'll just see little bubbles popping out of the bottom. And I believe that'll be good enough, but we'll see. I might end up having to use smoke and just figuring out some way to render that as fast as possible. But that's really all the technical parts of rendering and why you got to make the decisions you do when you are creating something inside of Blender. I'm going to add a bunch of 2D stuff to it, and it's just going to be a gigantic project. Until next time, though, I have the 3D robot here created, and I'm going to call him done. And I will see you next time at erpolley.com, ERPOLLEY.com. Check it out, hire an animator, support the cause, buddy. Yeah. All right. Goodbye.